Oli London was born January 14, 1990, to two parents that worked normal jobs. London was a kid who was bullied a lot in school, which would end up being the reason for insecurities that he would have going forward. Humble beginnings for what London would turn out to be later. In 2013, London was in Seoul, South Korea for a teaching job, but from that came the first day of the rest of his life. In Seoul, he would discover the K-pop group BTS and become very infatuated with them, most particularly the lead singer Park Jimin. This chase for the beauty of Jimin became the start of many unwell things for London to do in order to fulfill his obsession. The transformation started with London trying to replicate Jimin's fashion choices, spending thousands of dollars to get the same clothing. When replicating the fashion did not work to help London look like Jimin, the next resort was to get plastic surgeries in order to look like Jimin. This would mostly go under the radar until people started to catch on to London's existence. In 2018, London first started getting press about his attempts to look like a K-pop star. By this time, London had spent roughly 75,000 euros on surgeries. And for reference to the US viewers, which are like 60% of you, that's about $100,000. All of this money just to not even look like Jimin. London was featured on a show called Hooked on the Look that chronicled London's spending, even showing him getting more procedures done to chase a dream that can never come true. He explained that his unhappiness with his looks tied together with his love for K-pop stars, and how that pushed him to get the surgeries.
I was always insecure because, to be honest, I had very bad acne when I was at school, and I had my nose was very big. That's when I actually decided, look, I need to change myself now and be a lot happier. The fact of the way they look, the way they perform, they all look incredibly perfect. And when I actually watch their videos, I cry just because they're so beautiful.
Looking at the before picture, he may not be a 10 out of 10, but he certainly looked better and more natural than he did after the procedures. The new Oli London look, all the problematic aspects aside, just emits this uncanny valley effect. The old look, he just looks like a British guy, which he is, showing the extent to which he was willing to go in order to morph himself into a Korean. He showed off how he got his chest fixed in order to become more flat. The episode shows him going to a cosmetic surgery office with a cut out of Jimin in order to give the doctors a reference.
I just kind of want to look like him.
So we're gonna a little bit give you volume back on the cheek area, which is gonna a little bit help with your eye area. So it's gonna push it up a little bit.
Right, that sounds really good.
One of the danger here is you don't know what you're doing, you can make people blind.
Yeah. Really? From this procedure?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
And if only he had actually gone blind, so that people could say he looks exactly like Jimin so he didn't have to go any farther. He ended up going to his friends to show off his new results, and they weren't entirely pleased. Even they could see that he didn't look like Jimin, and that his surgeries were very concerning behavior.
So what do you guys think of the new look then? It's obviously very different. Like, what do you think?
I don't ever want to picture you like this pop star, to be honest.
Yeah.
You're upset?
A little bit, because I really...
You're upset as well?
Yeah.
I really just don't want you to get to a point where you can't undo anything. I mean...
We do support you, but
of course
we're
we
just
do.
concerned we do want the best for you. And
thank you, Kofi. Thank you.
Surgeries.
Yeah. You know, I'm not going to get addicted.
I think we're past that.
I think we're past that, Oli.
Yeah.
You think I'm addicted?
Do you not think you're addicted?
I don't think I've done that much, you know. I don't think it's an addiction. I just think it's I have a strong interest in pursuing my goal. They don't.
The episode wraps up with him and his friends going out, and London picking up more clothing that he feels emanates that Jimin energy, and getting an Asian person to reaffirm his Asian looks. But this Asian still had his own fair share of critiques towards London's look.
Do you think I look a little bit, you think I look like Jimin a little bit? Like...
Oh, yeah, I think so. Your makeup is more,
like,
I think a little over.
Oh, maybe too much makeup
too much,
for Jimin.
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
The next...
With the nature of this episode, it was obvious that it would be receptive to a bit of backlash from the general public, getting talked about by creators like Moist Critical.
Look look like
You gotta be a special kind of evil to like indulge in someone that wants to do this.
Cutting the skin out and then moving it across just to make the eyes more of an almond shape. So I don't want to look like a normal...
This guy's gonna look like an actual racist caricature of a Korean pop star.
Like,
wow.
So, yeah.
Jesus Christ, man.
Do they have Jimin flavor?
What does that mean?
He's not my Korean friend, so I will order for him.
What does Jimin flavor consist of? He peed into the ice cream machine, jerked off into it, and busted a load for flavor?
Even some outlets picked up the story to flame him over his reckless behavior. Oli London, being as insecure as he is, would upload every time he was covered by an outlet to his YouTube channel. In this upload, he's literally on screen for like a second or two on NBC, while the anchors were talking about Botched, a show about people who got messed up by their plastic surgery routines.
Surgeries in the new season of E! Smash hit. It's called Botched.
Dr. Terry Dubrow and Dr. Paul Nassif are the go-to surgeons for patients who walk in with extreme cases and walk out with an improved body image. And today, they're here to talk...
If you missed him on screen there for a second, well, that's because he literally was on screen for like a second, and he still felt the need to upload that. And in this one he uploads, he circle jerks in the comments about how one of the outlets in question got the BTS member he wanted to be incorrect. Anyone notice that instead of Jimin, the photos were literally Jin? I know, they kept putting Jin's photos. She doesn't have a clue about BTS or me, lol, X. Hey, maybe the star did get what he wanted to be wrong, but that's kinda glossing over the topic at hand, which is that a mentally unwell man is unsuccessfully making himself look like a Korean. Though he said himself in the episode of Hooked on the Look that he is still a British man and not trying to be Korean. He's rather just a person chasing the looks of a Korean person.
Well, I'm not exactly changing my race. Like, I'm not saying that I want to be Asian as such. I'm always going to be, you know, British, Caucasian, but I would like to look as close as possible to Koreans, like Korean pop stars and Jimin.
Oli London, trying to look like a K-pop star, said fuck it and decided he would try to become the K-pop star. In 2019, he released a song titled Perfection, which featured verses in English and Korean, and a brief snippet from the song shows how insulting it must have been for people in K-pop audiences, or really anyone with ears. I'm not sure how much I can play without getting copyright claimed by London, but all you need to know is that it sounds exactly like that the whole way through. The auto-tune is more of a singer than London, despite claiming to have vocal training. In an interview, he elaborated further on this. Does Oli have any musical training? I've been having vocal coaching from some of my friends who've been producing my track. Obviously, I used a bit of auto-tune. I'm sure that's the #1 criticism. But I love the sounds of auto-tune, and maybe I used a bit too much on the track. That's what everyone's saying, but I like the sound of it because it goes with the theme of perfection. I sound almost robotic, kind of like a doll or something. So that went with the theme, but no, not necessarily musical training. As a musician myself, I know for a fact that when he said that, the auto-tune sounded bad on accident, and now he's trying to justify it by talking about the themes of the song. Many times have I made something that sounded horrible, but have justified that horrible sound because it goes with the theme. If something like that were a creative choice, he would have said that from the beginning instead of changing the narrative mid-explanation. I would agree, though, that the auto-tune is symbolic of London's experience, trying to fix something which can't be fixed, and it turning out terribly. Even someone in the K-pop industry wasn't exactly on board with London's antics.
아침까지 먹는 거지. 내일 그때 바빠요. 내일 일요일인데 아침까지 먹는. Oli, hello, thank you, nice to meet you, hello. 나 원래.
At least in his interview, he finally did something responsible and said that youth should not go out of their way to replicate what he is doing. He again even reiterated his British identity, which will soon age like milk. What would Oli say to a young fan who told him they wanted to get surgery to look like an idol? I don't encourage plastic surgery, unless someone's really thought about it, especially if they're young. Are there any social or moral issues surrounding changing your identity to look like someone from another race? I'm not trying to change my race. It's not about changing my race, because I know I'm British. His sanity would only go further down the drain, and he even ended up marrying a cardboard cutout of Jimin. In a video that has since been deleted from Oli London's YouTube channel, he would announce his marriage and show off the marriage certificate. He even coined the term cardboard-phobic as a pejorative for people who did not support the union of Oli London and a cardboard cutout.
But we're extremely happy, and it's, Jimin's someone I've looked up to and loved since, he debuted in 2013, so this is a dream come true to have a wedding. I've actually got Jimin engraved on my ring, so we're very happy together as well. And there's a lot of people online, judging our wedding and stuff, and I actually think that's very carbophobic. All this carbophobic abuse is not nice. We're just living our life, we're happy. For people that don't say we got married, I've got the wedding certificate here as well, that was signed in Las Vegas at the Viva Las Vegas Wedding Chapel.
And at this point, it's really hard to tell whether London is being for real or if he's doing a bit. The idea of marrying cardboard is very silly to the average person, and coining a term for people against it is even more ludicrous. He's certainly unwell enough to be keeping up the obsession, but who knows if marrying the cardboard was just a publicity stunt, as this was in 2020, a year after his last major coverage. Another year would go by, and in 2021, London would start identifying as a non-binary transracial Korean, which sounds like something out of a shitty Ben Garrison comic, but it's true. In a private video where he is clearly recovering from a recent surgery, he describes how he took real transgender individuals as an inspiration for his coming out as a Korean.
Because I know a lot of people don't understand me, but I do identify as Korean, and I do look Korean now. I do feel Korean. I don't identify as British, so please don't refer to me, any media or anyone online, as British, because I identify as Korean. That's just my culture, that's my home country, that's exactly how I look now. And I've been inspired by the courage of other people, other young people that have come out as non-binary or come out in a different way, and that's really kind of given me the courage, because I think if they can do it, so can I. As I said, I'm non-binary now, so I can be addressed as they, them, Korean, or Jimin. So they/them/Jimin/Korean, or Ko/Ian, Korean. That's how I identify. People might not get it, it's a new concept, whatever. This is how I feel, so please be respectful of my pronouns.
That's right. His pronouns were they, them, and Korean Jimin. Also, Ian. What happened to acknowledging he was British? He may have still been a lolcow back then, but this is just too much to believe that this is real. He says that people are not to refer to him as British because of his Korean identity, which makes it seriously hard to discern his sincerity.
My love of Korea, and people just don't get it. No one's done this before, but I just want to take the brave step to, do this, because I'm sure there's many other young people out there that do identify as Korean or maybe as Japanese, and they don't have the strength or courage, or they don't know the words how to express this, and it's a very, very tough thing. And I don't want to receive any backlash for this, because this is a very personal thing to share. You guys,
The most dangerous part of his coming out video would be where he says that there may be youth out there who might feel the same way he did. This would clearly be trying to get young people who don't know any better to consider if they identify with a different race than the one they were born as. This video was of course met with a lot of backlash from the public for likening transracialism to transgender people. I am so disappointed with this channel. You guys usually have real people there, trying to educate people and show how different we are and teach everyone to embrace it. Now you are giving a voice to someone who is stealing a race? You can't just decide to be black or white or Korean or Latino. This is wrong in so many different ways that I don't even know where to start. This feels like a transphobic joke that someone would make up. I mean, live your life, but the whole time I'm just like, and he doesn't look Korean at all. Transracial? Really? As a trans non-binary person, this is so offensive and messed up. I even have my Korean American friend here Flobbles to rate how Korean Mr. Oli London is.
Hey guys, Flobbles here, and as you can tell, I'm of Korean descent. And today, I am rating Oli London's Korean-ness. Look at this Jeff the Killer looking freak. Jesus Christ. Okay, first of all, no. Too colorful clothing for real Koreans, alright? Black jacket, jeans, and dress shoes. That's all you get. Yeah, no, looks more like Ken than anything. I mean, getting plastic surgery is very Korean, so I guess credit where credit's due, automatic 10 points there. Yeah, no, eyes aren't slanty enough. Just looks like a white guy who got stung by a bee. And those lips. God, those lips look like they've never had a taste of makgeolli. Never had jinro, never been wasted in Hongdae. What the fuck is that? Is that a fucking Camaro? No. Okay. You don't get a fun, colorful car as a Korean, okay? You get a black Hyundai accent or a white Hyundai accent, okay? Aftermarket accessories include those little blue foam cubes they put on their doors to avoid dings, okay? Never played 48 hours of consecutive StarCraft in a PC bang, subsisting only on Shinramyeon and Yakult. And a Super Bowl shirt? Fuck, man. So much wrong with this image. Not a Kiwoom Heroes jersey? No LG Twins? Buddy, man, those wrists. They look a little bit too clean. Alright? You better up those suicide attempts. Oh, and hanging out with a woman? No. You stay in a room and write a 10-paragraph essay on why women are trash on DC, okay? In conclusion, 2 out of 10. You'll never be a real Korean.
Oli London gave a comment to the Daily Mail against this criticism, not doing much to help his case. It is sad during Pride Month, a month that celebrates diversity, equality, and love, that woke people would use my coming out and sharing my non-binary Korean identity, something that took me many years to understand and accept. It took me enormous courage to share with the world, and use it as a platform to bully, degrade, and dehumanize me and the LGBT community. While I recognize that a lot of people don't understand how I identify and may find it unusual, being Korean and feeling Korean is a part of who I am and how I feel, and I will never allow a single woke person, bully, or troll to take that away from me. I have gone through extreme lifestyle changes to become who I am today, and have lived in Korea. I eat Korean food every day, use Korean skincare, have plastic surgery to look Korean, and I speak the Korean language. All of this shapes me as a person and my identity as a non-binary Korean person. For all discretion, the term transracial certainly exists, and it can be used in the right context to be used in a better light. The term transracial is most often used to describe adopted children who are adopted into a family of a different race. This, of course, did not apply to London, who was born to 2 British people and is not even adopted. He's just a man with a K-pop obsession, even making a flag to represent something that exclusively he fits into. These statements just led to further death threats from people over the internet not too pleased with what London was doing. In terms of me being transracial and being one of the first transracial activists, it's a big step to come out and say that because there has been a lot of backlash, they told TMZ. They went on to discuss the number of death threats they received in the last week. I've literally had thousands of death threats, which is very scary, Oli continued. People are telling me to kill myself, people are saying they're gonna find me and shoot me, really extreme stuff. I certainly don't endorse any violence happening to Oli London. He didn't commit a crime or anything, he's just a weird person on the internet. Even as much as he speaks in his insanity, he should not be harmed for it. 2022 would mark the peak of London's schemes. He divorced his Jimin cutout. It is with a broke heart that I announce my husband and I, Cardboard Jimin, have filed for divorce due to irreconcilable differences in our marriage. Oli London posted about his love affair with Cardboard cutout Jimin. He talked about this more in a video that unfortunately cannot be found, as even the archives of the YouTube page were not able to save the video. I'm sure it would have been hilarious, but I guess we'll never know by seeing the video itself. London did announce that he was looking for a new love, and with the path he falls down, it's only a wonder why he never found it. With Jimin out of the picture, it would be time for London to commit 100% to being Korean. At this point, the amount of money he'd spent approximately racking up to be $250,000. The last thing that London felt was not affirming to his Korean identity was his cock. It's unknown how much London is packing below the belt, but we can extrapolate from his new plan that it was above the South Korean average. He said, "I don't want people to get offended by this, but in Korea, the average penis is like 3.5 inches, and I get trolled all the time. People say, 'Oh, you can't be Korean, you're not 100% Korean,' and I just want to be 100% Korean. I would even have a penis reduction, so I'm like the Korean average. That's how far I'm willing to go. I can have it done in Thailand, and it will cost between $6,000 and $8,000. Thailand's cheaper, and to be honest, they do specialize in those kind of things in Thailand, because they have a lot of sex changes and stuff. It's very rare, because most people will get a penis enlargement. I know it does sound weird. I just want to be 100% Korean. My entire face will be Korean. I've done my chest. Like, what can I do next? I don't know." And with that, I'm honestly surprised he needed it to be reduced, since the man suffers from chronic SDE. Messing up your face with cosmetic surgery is one thing. A lot of people do it, but penis reduction surgery is a new thing to me. Most people, when they get operations on their dick, it's for enlarging it, when they likely don't even need it. London was going the exact opposite direction with it. He never ended up following through with this one, because he ended up having a change of heart for the better, and also most certainly for the worst. Later into 2022, Oli London would apologize for any harm he may have done to the Korean community, and also Jimin for his creepy behavior. He would release a video titled Apology Video, My Apology to Jimin and the Asian Community, where he described how he was bullied in school, and how it led to all his insecurities piling up, which resulted in the Oli London that's most known.
Since I was actually a teenager at school, where I used to get bullied constantly, for the way I looked, just being really horrible. So that really affected my confidence. So that's kind of where my issues started with my self-confidence, my self-esteem. And that is what has led me to become who I am today. I've obviously had a lot of surgery. I've obviously had identity issues, which I'm sure you guys have followed. And I just want to address these things. That's kind of the root cause, is when I was at school, all the bullying, and it's really kind of scarred me and given me a lot of trauma.
He cited his unhappiness with himself at the time as leading to his obsession, and how upon hearing Jimin, he felt that that was his way to happiness, hence the clusterfuck that we have all come to know.
And I really tried to model myself on that person because I thought that would make me happy. So I basically have become obsessed with Jimin because I was so unhappy inside. Like, I can't even explain. Maybe some of you guys watching know what it's like when you have body dysmorphia, or when you just feel bad about yourself. Like, I look in the mirror, I would cry, I would make myself throw up so I didn't have to go to school, so people wouldn't call me names. So that was a real struggle. So when I discovered Jimin in 2013 when he debuted, I really just channeled all of my love into him, and I thought, I can become him. I can sing like him, I can dance like him, I can have surgery to look like him. I can become Jimin, and I can finally be happy. I can be as confident and happy as Jimin.
With the rationalization behind his behavior out of the way, he finally apologized to Jimin and the broader Asian community for his past behavior.
I've realized now that it wasn't the right thing to do. So I want to take this chance upon reflection to apologize to Park Jimin personally. I hope you know that I love and adore you and admire you so much, you have no idea. But please, I'm sorry if I ever seemed a little bit too crazy, a little bit too obsessive, or a little bit too much. I never meant to hurt your feelings, Jimin. I'm sure you probably see a lot of my videos, maybe see a lot of my songs, and think maybe sometimes I'm a little bit too obsessive or too crazy. Well, I just want to apologize to you if you're watching Park Jimin, because I'm sure you are watching, because I know BTS watch a lot of my videos and chat about me on Kakao Talk.
He found a person to date that appreciated him for who he was, and that's how he realized that he didn't need to hinge on K-pop and trying to become another person. Trying to make more of his life and discovering himself was not ending his insecurity, but it did wonders for snapping London out of his obsessive behaviors. It does seem like the coverage he got from his apology got to him though, judging from this tweet he made. I don't understand why many people on social media cannot let me move on with my life. Yes, I had an obsession with Korea. Yes, I had an obsession with K-pop. And yes, I was obsessed with Jimin. I realized it was unhealthy and am changing and growing. Please let me move on. With that, he also detransitioned back to a man again. It is of course a preposterous statement that this implies that any other transgender person is as likely to detransition as London's used identity was spawned out of unhappiness with himself and not an actual identity that he had. At least, that's what would be expected for people to think. But instead, that's what Oli London has since been writing, using the new detransitioner train to make regular transgender individuals to seem just as likely to crack, or that their transitions are of a similar nature to London's. London would only interact with anti-transgender accounts from then on, as an attempt to grift money off the anti-trans craze as of right now. London is still around, and he's still grifting in hopes he can make the big bucks. He even wrote a book about his journey called Detransition, a memoir. Or at least if he was being a genuinely concerned person, he would have kept the name that. That was the old name of his book. Since he needs his book to pander to a certain audience, he found it better to rename the book to Gender Madness, one man's devastating struggle with woke ideology and his battle to protect children, which is a title much more latent with buzzwords that people will click on. This was enough to spark the ire of Ethan Klein of H3H3 Productions, which led to them having a debate in which Ethan Klein, of all people, would wipe the floor with Oli on all of his points.
Look, what I'm saying is the gender clinics make billions of dollars every year. Their studies are skewed and biased.
In a review of 27 studies involving almost 8,000 teens and adults who had transgender surgeries, mostly in Europe, US, and Canada, 1% on average expressed regret. And this is 27 studies, so this is a massive kind of conclusion, right? A scientific conclusion, a consensus, if you would.
I don't trust studies,
Why?
even if you're saying it's
27 studies. Then why did you tell me to read this one, Oli? You use studies when it's convenient for you, but you don't when it goes against your thesis. I don't understand your consistency with studies. Do we like them or no? All studies or no studies?
I like studies.
Oh, we do.
No, I like studies.
You do like studies.
But you have to always look at bias. You know, the clinic. Oh, I speak to detransitioners every day. I speak to parents. I speak to women.
So don't you? That assumes a bias, Oli. You're talking all day to detransitioners. We've also established, because we, I think, like studies, or I don't know if we've decided. I think you said you like studies, because 27 of them made a consensus that 99% of people that transition don't regret it. So if you spend all day talking to the 1% that do regret it, don't you believe that underlies a bias?
I personally don't like Ethan Klein nowadays, but I have to admit that debate was quite the watch. Because, you know, Oli London really isn't the anti-woke's best. This was quite the journey, from a man obsessed with K-pop to trying to be K-pop to marrying K-pop and then just detransitioning from it all. The tale of Oli London is quite packed with turns that only turn harder. And so, do you think that Oli should have been tormented by the public as much as he was? At what point do you think he went too far, if there was a point? Do you think he genuinely believes what he says nowadays, or do you think he's just shamelessly grifting? I have been John X Woodcat, and this has been Oli London, the deranged K-pop stan who became Korean. Hey, John X Woodcat here. Thank you for watching if you're still here for some reason. If you didn't even skip past that whole outro, you know, thank you for that. Also, I've got an Instagram and a Twitter, neither of which I really post on, but if you want to follow those, you should do that. If you do all of those, just send me proof. I'll I don't know, I'll do something. I'll mail you like a horse Viagra or something. But most importantly, just sorry, that's my roommate. Yeah, just subscribe.